different, and also they also generalize in that way, right?
Yeah.
Yet they come to Lagos or Papa Port, they call you like my container is stuck, right?
Sure.
So that's when you realize this is not the average, right? So I think during my journey, like when I came back after my first time on the continent,
that was 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. So after first time was 2006. That was before WhatsApp was there. Before social medias were there. So we really enjoyed the sort of analog, the letter, home, the parcel from home for Christmas. And after that, things changed a bit. But I realized, where my upbringing is a privilege in itself. So, and I didn't make the most out of it at that time. So I went back to school. I finished my A-level because I wanted to study. So I then took myself to evening school.
So you went to your secondary school and A-level in Africa?
No. I went back home, finished my A-level.
Okay.
And then applied for university.
Okay.
And through that journey, when I then went to university, I focused on Africa all the time. All my essays were about Africa. What others went on India. I don't know what they wrote about. So for me, I realized this is what I enjoy. Right, and out of that, then business grew because I realized now there are not many people who, at that time, claim to understand a little bit about how things are done here. With the background I had at that time. So. And then obviously right out of school, you try to get a formal job. And I was quite ambitious at that time. So I went for the big four consulting firms, I went for international organizations, that type of either go big or go home. So I went home. And then after that, I realized that my path might not match what they're looking for. Yet none of the big four was really strong in Africa, right? That even remember there was a German consulting firm, Holger Vogt, they actually pulled out, so they moved everything to Dubai. So I asked myself why, like if not now, when? So with that, seeing that, and also seeing how the big four do business here, it's more surface level polished PowerPoints, right? But that's not how business is done. Business done on the streets. Business done in the back door. You have to really dig. You have to get your fingers dirty. And only if you do that, if you go the extra mile, then you can really make a difference. Because we see a lot of companies, they say, Holger, Ghana or Nigeria, it's not a market. But when I hear that, I wonder, like, do you really know? Have you really seen how the market looks? It might not be the market you're used to, but it's a massive market.
True.
But your problem is you don't know how to access it. So that's how then we came up with the idea of founding a
marketing
consulting. Correct.
That's quite interesting. So how will you tell someone your journey? Like, for example, you've explained you being on the continent for about 20 years. I myself, I know so many people who have been active and they're out. I'm even getting situations where some banks in Nigeria are trying to pull out, and at least they have been doing well. At some point, they are pulling out, but you have been active on the continent for about 20 years, and I think that deserves a good. There's so much that you can share to people. How will you explain your journey? Has it been like challenging for you? Has it been just a smooth path? What can people get out of you being on the continent for 20 years and still on the continent?
I believe everyone who does business here says it's easier things like. So it's not the easiest, but it's the most rewarding, right? Because you see impact immediately. The moment you start unlocking a market, the market response rate is very, very fast. And I think if I look at that journey, of course, we had times we survived COVID, so something we've done right. At that time, we decided we have to be out there, we have to be seen. We are a small boutique firm, so unless people see us, we don't exist.
Sure.
But COVID was a blessing for us in the end of the day, because the people who I call them the fly-in, fly-outs, headquarter in London, Paris, wherever.
I know what you
and your area manager in Africa. Where do you even start? So they come in, they reside in the Kempinskis, they have a meeting with the industrial suppliers, they have coffee, and then they go home, write an email and say, hey, nice meeting. Are we in business? There's no business there. So when COVID came, that phenomenon was eradicated overnight. People couldn't come anymore. But business had to continue. So they need local support, right? And I think with my background, if let's now talk about, let's say, European clients, there's a certain comfort they feel if another fellow European is involved, right? So I think we play with that a lot, right? So that's the cultural difference, right? Even the local markets. Let's say when my guys are going into markets, and give you a very practical example. If I go to the markets here in Accra today and ask for the price of a loaf of bread from the mama on the road, she probably will give me a different price than if my local guy will go and ask for the same price. Why? Because by nature, people see opportunities. But that means if I now inform a client what's the price for bread, I might give him the wrong answer. Because I got the different price.
Right. Yeah.
So, but that's what we pride ourselves with. We want to provide local solutions for local challenges, right? We don't have to. I usually refer to the aviation sector. We don't have to build a Heathrow in Accra. We don't need that.
You don't need that.
No. But people aspire it, which they should. But are we not better off if we have a Ghanaian Heathrow in Accra, which I think to an extent we have. Beautiful airport. It works, right? So I think what they've done very well is they looked at it from what do we really need? Do we need the space that Heathrow has? Do we need the slots that Heathrow has? And then we localize. And I think that's what we do quite well, is really localizing the efforts of the firms and guide them. And I think that goes a long way. And that, I think, to your point, after COVID, I think that was a time when I was confident to say, look, we have a good name now. Now it's about scaling it.
Okay. And I think that COVID, it really kind of reset many things, even reset the way we think about doing business in Africa. I know when I connected with you back in 2017, 2018, I was working on an international trade event in Washington, D.C. And through the program which was successful, I had so many people from US, from Europe, all over, always reaching out to us about trying to explore doing business in Owido, Africa. But a lot of time it ends only in that conversation. The action doesn't follow the conversation. Like for the program we had about 3,000 delegates. But what is the action that fueled them after that conversation to actually go down to the continent and start doing business? So when I see someone like you talking about your 20 years on the continent doing business from point A to point B, having gone through all those challenges, I feel like there's a lot that some of those businesses in Europe, in US, and in different parts of the country will be listening to you. I was like, okay, this is someone that I have been in there and is doing things happen. What will you say? What will you say if that company right now is listening to you? What advice will you give them in terms of taking that next step from that interest that they have? Because I believe right now Africa is actually generating a lot of interest, but so many people are not really making that move to come and exploit the business opportunities in Africa.
I think a lot of people want to, not everyone can. And to your point, to the delegation or the events, Africa overall as a market opportunity became kind of fancy. It's people refer to it as a last frontier. Where are we last? In what? And I usually say you are the one who was last because you have not considered the markets yet. Yet they're here, right? And people are doing big business here.
That's true.
So there's always that notion out there where Africa is last, or it should be the next, or I hear often the word the sleeping giant of Nigeria. Nigeria is not sleeping at all. Never. 24/7 people are on the road trying to make money, right? So there's no one sleeping. The only one sleeping is the ones looking from the outside into the continent.